everyone, and welcome to the episode of the Caffeinated Librarians, MPL's pop culture podcast. We are continuing our book to movie adaptation series with a discussion of my pick, which is the 2004, I can't believe it's that old, animated fantasy film Howl's Moving Castle, which is written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. So this is a Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, depending on how you want to pronounce it, production. This film is based on Diana Wynne Jones' 1986 novel of the same name. And Howl's Moving Castle was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the 78th Academy Awards. Howl's Moving Castle stars the voice talents of Christian Bale as Howl, Emily Mortimer as young Sophie, Gene Simmons as older Sophie, Lauren Bacall as the Witch of the Waste, Billy Crystal as Calcifer, the fire demon, and Josh Hutcherson as Markle. I put his name as Michael. His name is not Michael. It's Markle.
Michael.
I thought it was Michael. Then I listened to it again, and it's like, no, it's Markle.
Again, one of these rare things, those Ghibli movies for a while were just blessed with, like, really good American dubs, which is a bit of a rarity, you know? And, yeah, the casting here does a great job.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to shout that out. Even if you're somebody who's averse to dubs, like, give it a shot next time you rewatch this one.
The sheer fact that we have Gene Simmons playing older Sophie, and I mean, she comes from, like, Hollywood royalty. She was in Spartacus with Michael Douglas. So, I mean, even she's in this movie, and she does a really great job.
What I will say is I had a chance to watch the Italian dub of Howl's Moving Castle, and I like it more than the English dub, and I would even argue this might be sacrilege, the Japanese original, which is not terrible, but when I was watching the Italian dub, and I kind of thought, oh, this is going to be cringe because of the way, like, Italian accents are now, but I really enjoyed it. It was such a good dub, so well done.
So it was in, this may be a really dumb question, it was in the Italian language?
Yeah, Yeah, and I saw it, I think, on Rai, I believe, which is an Italian network, and it was really good. So, like I said, this is based on the novel, Howl's Moving Castle, which I have read, and I really do enjoy, and I would highly recommend that you check it out. It is available for checkout in our system. It's also on Hoopla and Libby. Yeah, and the audiobook is only 8 hours and something.
Let me tell you, even if you usually use Libby, if you're waiting for a hold on there, Hoopla, you can borrow it instantly. All right, so.
Yeah, and there's the ebook and the audiobook version is available on Hoopla, whereas Libby, it's only the audio version. So just to talk about some of the differences between the book and the film, and I won't go into it too much because I don't want to spoil it, because I do want us in the podcast to read it, and if you haven't read the book, I don't want to spoil too much for you. So the book has a larger cast of characters, so when they transferred it to an anime, naturally those characters had to be condensed. Sophie, I think, has 3 sisters in the novel. In the film, they only gave her 1, which isn't a really big deal, but it's understandable. Howl's Castle is very different, and I wanted to read it, the description that you get in the book.
Ooh.
So it's, Wizard Howl's castle was rumbling and bumping toward her across the moorland. Black smoke was blowing up in clouds from behind its black battlements. It looked tall and thin and heavy and ugly and very sinister indeed. Sophie leaned on her stick and watched it. She was not particularly frightened. She wondered how it moved. But the main thing in her mind was that all that smoke must mean a large fireside somewhere inside those tall black walls. So, very different description from the castle, and I do have like a picture of the castle that you actually see in the animated film. And one of the things I love about this movie, and this is one of my favorite Ghibli movies, is the design of Howl's Castle. It has a lot of personality to it. It really is just like he grabbed random parts, threw it all together.
It really feels like a bunch of things just melded together into one building, and you're like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, but it gives it so much personality. So the castle descriptions are very different.
I also really love the spindly legs.
Oh,
yeah.
I
think that's very fun.
Little chicken legs. So in the animated feature, there's a war going on. And the war is a major plot point of this movie. In the book, the war is a footnote. It's mentioned briefly and then you never hear of it again. But this makes sense when you realize that Hayao Miyazaki, a lot of his films are critiques of war.
Yeah.
They're very anti-war.
I know this one was
yeah.
was very inspired by his feelings about the war in Iraq, and so this came out in 2004, so that's very, very fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very much anti sort of industrialization or sort of the effects it has on the natural world.
I would say that it's more of like anti-deforestation, because he also touches that on one of my favorite movies, not to go too far off topic, Princess Mononoke.
Yeah. So, and he mentions also like about the loss of Japan's natural forests. Like there was a documentary where he's talking about this. And also the loss of connection between people and nature. And in this film, you do see that. You see the destruction of the war. So like I said, but in the book, it's a footnote. It's not the main focus of the story. The Witch of the Waste is more sinister and more malicious. In fact, I wanted to get when you first see her. So this is in the book. So in the book, The Witch of the Waste visits... So Sophie, I should say, is a hatter. Her family owns a hat shop, and she makes hats. She makes very lovely hats. She's very skilled, and this is the same profession that she has in the animated film. She's very much a wallflower. She doesn't think much of herself. In many ways, her family does take advantage of her. They care about her, but at the same time, they don't really appreciate what she brings to the family.
In the film, they make it clear she's got a real case of eldest daughter syndrome.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, she's taking over the family business. She's doing all this and that, and she ends up not having time for other things.
Yeah. So the witch, this is after the witch has gone into the shop. She's insulting everything that Sophie has made. And Sophie rightfully says, well, why did you bother coming if you're going to insult everything? So she says, I always bother when someone tries to set themselves up against the Witch of the Waste, said the lady. I've heard of you, Miss Hatter, and I don't care for your competition or your attitude. I came to put a stop to you. There. She spread out her hand in a flinging motion towards Sophie's face. So in the film, it's the same thing kind of happens. So I'm going to try not to over-summarize the film, but the Witch of the Waste comes to Sophie's shop because she's been spying on Howl, who is the protagonist's main love interest of the film. So in this world, the kingdom is at war. And at the same time, the prince of a neighboring kingdom has gone missing. And that's sort of written off as the catalyst for the war. Yeah. But the king is also a warmonger. You can see that he's very much...
Yeah, in early scenes, we see like a military parade happening in town. And, everybody's buzzing. They're all in dress uniform. And then it's followed up very quickly with a scene of two soldiers in their dress uniform hassling Sophie. It feels really nasty before Howl swoops in and does his little magic.
The disappearance of the prince is definitely what's the word? Why is it escaping me? The reason for going. There's another word for it, but the reason for the war.
Yeah.
There's another.
So it's sort of
an excuse. It's the excuse for the war.
That's one of the excuses given. And like I said, in the book, there's mention of a missing prince, but that's not the focus of the book.
But I do like those two scenes contrasted as a way of just like pretty immediately Miyazaki's telling you like, the parades might look nice, but then you look underneath and see like, okay, what are we celebrating here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Sophie's contact with Howl, and at that point she doesn't really know who he is. He's just a very handsome stranger who has saved her from two soldiers who are sexually harassing her. She goes to her sister who works at this bakery, and her sister, being very beautiful, her name is Letty, is very popular. And Letty tries to encourage Sophie to think of herself for once and to put herself first, but Sophie goes, yeah, thank you so much, and heads back to her shop. So she's closing up, and that's when the Witch of the Waste comes in. Now, Sophie doesn't know who she is, but the woman gives her a lot of attitude. And
Yeah, and she looks crazy in the movie.
So she curses Sophie, and essentially Sophie becomes an old woman instantly. And she also says, give my regards to Howl. So you know that the Witch of the Waste is spying on Howl, and the reason why she's gone after Sophie is because Sophie has had contact with Howl. I believe in the book she may have a romantic interest in Howl, but I'm not 100% sure. But she essentially attacks Sophie for the very same reason. So Sophie becomes an old woman, and she realizes, I can't stay here anymore. I need to go. So she goes off into the wilderness, so to speak, and she is met by the castle in a very lovely. I love that scene.
Don't forget
Turnip Head.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, that kind of freaks me out. She also.
Oh, he's cute.
Yeah. Well, it's also because in the book, I think it's a bit more. It's freakier.
Okay.
With
yeah,
turnip
here
heads.
he's just a fun little guy.
He's there. Yeah. So she happens she thinks it's a walking stick. It's actually a scarecrow with a turnip head, and he bonds instantly with Sophie. He decides, you are my person, and I'm going where you go. So he follows her into the castle, and the castle immediately opens up for Sophie.
Can I just say, I love the depiction of old lady Sophie
Yes,
in this.
yes.
It's really sweet and wonderful, and none of her strength is sacrificed with age.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes her freer and more able to be herself.
She's
more
sassy.
fully.
She's sassy as an old
It's-
lady.
She definitely has this confidence that comes with her being an older woman.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just a really beautiful thing, and you don't see. Technically, I guess this is a children's film.
Yeah.
And you don't really see older protagonists in kids' films all that often. There's a couple here and there. There's Up and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just wonderful, and it reminds me a lot of how Ursula Le Guin depicts aging in her Earthsea books. How it's just this beautiful thing that happens to you, and you are wiser now.
Yeah, and there's definitely, and this film is definitely is a commentary on ageism. And the notion, especially for this country, that once you become old, okay, you're over the hill, now
You're
go away.
Infirm. You don't need you anymore.
Your life doesn't have as much value or purpose. But this film, as Joe said, Sophie really comes alive once she becomes older Sophie. She doesn't really have any of her inhibitions. And it's beautiful. She goes into the castle. The castle welcomes her immediately. And in the book, you learn why, so I'm not going to say anything. But there's a reason for why the castle immediately welcomes her.
And then we get one of my favorite
Yes.
characters.
Calcifer.
Is he as whiny in the books? Is he as much of a drama queen?
To some extent, but also in the books. So you learn, the beautiful thing about the books is that there are a lot of hints dropped as to why Howl is the way he is, his connection to Calcifer, and I won't say any more. You learn more of that. And when you pay attention, you get those hints. On a second read, I was like, oh, I see what he's doing. So Calcifer isn't as whiny. He's a bit more sinister looking. In the book,
he tries to be sinister.
He tries to be,
but it doesn't work.
In fact, the scene where he blazes up momentarily, I think toward the end of the film, is actually the way he's illustrated. I don't have this cover; I have a different cover. And the way he looks at one point is how it's sort of a callback, toward the end of the way he blazes up really large
To move the castle,
and he almost gets that elongated face. Mm-hmm. It's toward the end.
Oh, when he's moving the castle.
Yes, yeah, I think after anyway, doesn't whatever. There's going to be spoilers for this movie.
A little flame spirit.
Yeah. Yes.
He just looks like a fire with a big goofy face.
Yeah.
And he talks like Billy Crystal.
Yes.
He's voiced by Billy Crystal.
And he's like, how did you get in here? What are you doing here? And then there's Markle, who's Howl's apprentice. I use that term loosely.
He's a little boy.
He's
who
not
helps
really
him out.
being apprenticed all that much.
I love when he's answering the doors and he puts the beard on to make him look like a little old man.
So one of the cool things of the castle is near the door there's a knob with different colors, and the colors open up to different cities where Howl, in one city he's known as Pendragon. And another one, I forgot what his name is. He has all these disguises.
Jenkins.
Yeah. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a reference, I think, to Howl's name in the book, now that I'm thinking of it.
Howl Jenkins?
Yeah, something like that.
That's interesting. That's cool.
I believe, now that I'm really thinking about it, it's a reference to that. And then there's a black one, which we don't know about until much
Howl
later.
just goes off in like a weird fire into that one. We're like, oh, okay, I guess he's off doing wizard stuff.
Yeah. So when Howl sees Sophie, like, he immediately realizes that she's under a spell. Even Calcifer realizes because of his that she's under a spell.
I guess it was one of those curses where you can't talk about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the stipulations, like that. The witch, the way he says, and the good thing about this is that you can't tell anyone about. I just
want to say, like, one
Gene
of
Simmons.
my yes.
No, that's Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall, sorry.
Yeah.
When she plays the witch, you can't tell anyone about it. She just flounces off.
Yeah. But, like, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when Sophie forces the pan onto Calcifer and she starts making breakfast. And Hal just, like, nonchalantly takes the pan from her and continues to go about it.
And what I will say is that Ghibli does such a great job of making cartoon food seem so appealing.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a homey, cozy scene. And I was watching reaction videos of people cooking the meal. So, like, using the bacon, the eggs, pouring the tea. Like, it makes you want to jump in there and have the meal with them.
Yeah.
So Sophie is able to tame Calcifer, which technically no one's able to do, but she's special. She cooks a meal.
Oh, she's kind of got him because he was like, "Hey, can you help me like get out of this deal with Howl?" And she's like, "Okay."
And deals are a big part of the book. Also the film, like magical contracts, deals, and bindings are very big in the book and also in the film. And Howl kind of like. I think because he recognizes, and I want to believe that he can see past the spell that Sophie is in. And what I love is there are times throughout the film where she switches back and forth, where you can see her as her young self, as her older self. I think it's also based on her mood, because there are moments when she gets really confident that her youth comes back, and then if she loses it, she regresses and she becomes older again.
Well, I think in your terms of like how Hal can see who she is from the onset past the curse, and I think that scene where Hal comes back after Sophie has cleaned the interior of the castle. Yeah,
because she becomes like their cleaning lady.
Yeah. A big sequence is just Sophie being like, "You live like this?"
Yeah. And he moves the curtain, and where she's sleeping, she's her young self again, and when she wakes up, she's her old woman. So I think that scene is meant to show that Hal can see beyond the curse and remembers her from when he first met her.
So Howl is a very caring person. He's also a drama queen, and he's also extremely vain. More so in the book. In the book, Howl is insufferable in his vanity. You get a brilliant moment, which is one of my favorite moments, where Howl, Sophie cleans up, so she messes with his system in the bathroom and his dyes, and horror upon horror, his hair is
red.
It's orange. And he throws this epic tantrum involving slime and oozes, and Sophie's like, what? And Casper's like, Sophie, please. I'm
gonna drown, help me.
And so it's like, oh, what a baby. And she like is dragging like a despondent Howl who's like, I can't live like this. Yeah. And she just he's in the chairs like, take care of him, Marco. And she's like, now I gotta mop again. It's such a funny scene.
It's so lighthearted.
But
it's very lighthearted after seeing the evil shadowy spirits coming out of the walls and the floors. And
so the war, as I mentioned before, is a big part. And the Emperor has essentially stated that every witch and wizard must come and contribute to the war effort. Howl has been avoiding it. So essentially it's a draft, so to speak. Howl has been avoiding this. He wants no part of the war. And also, there's a character called Suleiman, which in the book is a man. It's not a woman. So she is sort of the head sorceress who works directly under the king, is his advisor, and she is the one that has put out all those summons. Eventually, Howl gets to the point where he can no longer resist the summons, but he has this plan, as always. It's going to involve Sophie.
Going to see Solomon as his mother.
Yes, and basically says that you're like, just tell him your son is too incompetent. Yeah. And they'll have to let me go.
Let's not forget about my boy, Heen, the dog.
Heen! Oh, yeah.
He can't bark.
No, so Sophie says, okay,
He can
fine.
wheeze.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go with this plan. I don't 100% agree with it, but whatever.
And she thinks Heen is Howl.
Yeah, so she makes it to the Capitol, and she sees this dog who
Yeah.
is really struggling. Like, he
Yeah,
wheezes.
the oldest dog of all time.
And she thinks that's his disguise, because Howl tells her, I will meet you in disguise. And Sophie's like, oh my lord. So he goes, and he's just like following
I
her
own a
along.
plushie of him. He's so funny.
I'm sure we'll be able to find one. And like she goes to the castle, and like there's all these steps, and the castle is essentially put in protections that magic cannot be used within the castle. So she has to walk up the steps, and she's like, oh my god, you're gonna make me walk? So she's walking, she gets to a certain point, and she was like, but I love it that she hobbles back down, picks him up, hobbles all the way to the
seems like
top.
he's made out of lead, honestly.
And
Yeah.
and the Witch of the Waste is dissolving.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention.
Suleiman's just like, hey, I don't care about you at
Yeah,
all.
so she comes to because she obviously, as a witch, she has to be summoned as well. But when they get to the castle proper, a spell is activated, and the Witch of the Waste is reduced to her original or
It's like her
accurate age,
Yeah.
so to speak. So she is hella old, and she's little dumpling.
Yeah,
she's so
she's
cute,
got
though.
no more power.
Yeah,
more
and she's
powers.
been reduced to this old woman. Sophie is not happy about it because Sophie says that was a mean trick. How could you do that? But Suleiman is all about what must be done is done.
Yeah.
And we have a war. Let's get the act together. So Sophie basically goes with the whole spiel. I'm his mom. Suleiman doesn't buy it. She sees right through it. And he goes, Howl's useless. But then eventually, there's one of these beautiful moments where Sophie says, contrary to what you believe, Howl has a generous spirit.
And this is where her confidence starts coming in and where we
Yeah.
see her start to become young again. And we're all rooting for her, going, yes. And then Solomon has to ruin it and say, I see you're in love with Howl. And then as she retreats,
Yeah.
her,
So Sophie is essentially saying that, the war is not necessary. Can't we put an end to it? Howl is good. Underneath his frivolity, he is a good person, and we should not have to fight this war. Suleiman basically says, no, it's necessary. We're going to do it. The emperor makes his appearance, and you can tell that he's gun-ho about the war. He's a warmonger. He's like, this is fantastic. More bombs, planes, exploding things. Yay.
Oh, and also too,
Yeah.
Howl, lo and behold, there's another king.
Yes.
And the king, the original king who came trouncing in, was like laughing and says, "That's the greatest copy of me that you've gone so far." And then
Yeah, goes, ha ha ha, and then walks away.
And then walks away.
So basically, Howl comes disguised as the king because he says, I don't think we really need this war, and I've decided war is pointless. Now, Suleiman, being as smart as she is, realizing that's not the king. So she says, Howl, you finally come. And Howl basically says, I'll be leaving now. I answered the summons. You can't do anything to me anymore. And Solomon goes, haha, I think not. An elaborate spell sequence comes up, and I love the
Which,
star people.
I mean, is a really beautifully animated scene.
Yeah, it's so well done. Where like these star people start dancing around them, and little by little, because Howl at a certain point, with his magic, he's incredibly powerful. He has almost a beast form, and I think it's supposed to represent when he almost loses his humanity. And Solomon's spell, for some reason, brings that out.
Yeah.
And he takes Sophie away. They do escape. Solomon's highly entertained by all this, but she lets them go. And like I said, Howl, you learn, has been trying to thwart the war to some extent. You see that at one point he's traveling over a decimated city. It's being bombed to hell.
Yeah.
And he sees the other wizards who have essentially turned themselves into monsters for the king. They've become almost less than human, and they're fulfilling the king's sort of war efforts.
I think that's why when the star people come out and Solomon uses that spell, it's to draw out Howl's bird beast thing.
Yeah.
So that he can then be used for the war.
Yeah, and you see that Howl will sort of take the bomb. He's essentially trying to thwart the war at as much as he can.
Yeah.
Understanding that he is one person, there's no indication that any other witches or wizards are really trying to sort of stop the war. They've all essentially answered the call and are the king's weapons of war, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's where he goes sometimes when you see like the black button. That's technically where, not the black button, the black like,
Realm.
Yes,
is where he's going.
Yeah.
Sophie brings in the Witch of the Waste, who, like Joe said, no longer has her powers. She brings her into the castle. And eventually Sophie starts to learn more about the nature of Howl's deal with Calcifer. Mm-hmm. And you learn that Howl literally took out his own heart and gave it to Calcifer. So he is literally heartless. And Calcifer makes mention of that.
It's very subtle, though. It's not
Yeah.
like we don't actually learn about it until much later in the film.
But there's like little hints that he drops. There's little hints that the Witch of the Waste drops, and you almost think nothing of it.
They're almost like throwaway lines when it's like, oh no, you should really pay attention to these.
Yeah, and Sophie learns about the nature of the bargain, what the Witch of the Waste ultimately wants. She wants Howl's heart. Mm-hmm. And in the novel, it is similar. It's been a while since I've read it, but the Witch of the Waste is definitely more sinister. She's more involved. In the film, they make her more likable. Like, once she's been completely reduced to like a husk of her former self, you do feel really sorry for her. Yeah. She's not really much of a threat anymore. In the book, she's a constant threat. She's ever present. You know, there's a lot of sinister, freaky moments in the books.
Yeah, Miyazaki doesn't like having very straightforward villains in his work. He likes complicated characters who can be, a threat one minute and very sympathetic and sad the next.
I mean, I really appreciate, because no one's really a straightforward villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, the castle, because this is once Howl has almost completely lost himself to the monster within. And the castle, which is connected to Howl, has come apart. Where literally all that's left are like two of its legs, because the witch figures out, reaches into Calcifer, takes the heart out of Calcifer. So that doesn't kill Calcifer, but he's diminished greatly, and the castle falls apart because Calcifer is what is also holding it together. Mm-hmm. And he makes mention of that too, where like, if it weren't for me, the castle would, like, he doesn't necessarily say that exactly, but he makes reference to the fact that he's the one quite literally holding the castle up and making sure that it's running properly. So the Witch of the Waste figures things out, because Calcifer at one point says, like, so Calcifer is powered by the heart, and at one point Sophie, because it's a magical bargain, offers up her hair, and Calcifer says, well, could you imagine how much more I could do if you gave me your heart?
Yeah, and
and the witch goes, aha! So she reaches in, takes the heart, and the castle falls apart. Mm-hmm. So Sophie has to sort of venture into Howl's darkness, so to speak. And she learns, like, she sees Howl as a child, and she sees the moment in which Howl makes the bargain with Calcifer. He's almost like a falling star, lands in his hand, and she sees the moment he makes the bargain. But she says to him, she realizes that she can still reach out to Howl, and she tells him, look for me in the future. And she returns and
she calls for Calcifer.
Yeah.
To find me in the future.
Yeah, like, find me in the future, and it's a beautiful moment. And at first you think, oh my God, this was for nothing. But Calcifer is revived.
I know.
It's such a cute moment.
After Howl comes to get her, and she kisses his cheek.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you guys are meant for each other.
Yeah, she blows on Cal, and like he flames, and you see his eyes come back. It's like, oh, Calcifer's alive.
Yeah.
It's such a cute
even
moment.
The witch,
she's remorseful.
She was the one who gives the heart back.
Yeah. And the dog is still there. We forgot that the dog comes with them.
Yeah.
Heen comes with her. Yeah.
And then you know what? Turnip head Sophie's like, you're a good guy. Turnip
head.
Yeah. Gives him a little peck, and what's this?
It's the prince! The missing prince!
Yes, has been Turnip Head all along.
And it was supposed to be his true love that would wake him from the spell, but his true love was already involved with somebody else.
Exactly.
All right, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, I'm okay with that. And basically, like, the Witch of the Waste tells him, go back to your kingdom and put a stop to this. Yeah. And he vows that he will, like, that he's going to go back and explain what really happened, because he too obviously was put under a curse. So he's going to go back to his kingdom and make sure that the war comes to an end.
And of course, Solomon's watching the entire thing and calls this Heen a traitor.
Yeah, but He's like, I did what I had to do.
Yes.
I am not sorry one bit.
No.
And they live happily ever after.
And their castle's flying.
Yes.
And
so,
Calcifer's still there.
Exactly, but Howl has his heart back, so
Yes.
Calcifer found another way to. So it ends very well, and the book has a similar kind of ending, but there's a lot more. But I won't say anything because we're gonna read this for the podcast. And there's also a lot of sinister things. Like there's a lot of people under spells in this book. Like when she first meets the Witch of the Waste, there's a young man with her that I find it so funny. And Sophie says, like, because this is when Sophie gets smart with her, and she goes, only because you came in and asked for hats, Sophie said. This is only a small shop in a small town, madam. Why did you? Behind the lady, the man gasped and seemed to be trying to signal warningly. Bother to come in, Sophie finished, wondering what was going on. So she has a companion that's also sort of under a curse. So throughout the book, there are a lot of curses flying around and things happening. And there was a really freaky moment where there's like, I think somebody that's headless. That's also, like I said, there's a lot of freaky moments, a lot of curses, a lot of stuff going on in this book that you don't really see in the film. But like I said, the film is something different. It took inspiration from the book and made it its own thing. But I would say you can enjoy both. Both are two different things, two different pieces of art that you can still enjoy and get something different from both the book and the movie. So yeah, so everything ends well. The hope is that the war will also come to an end. The loss of life will come to an end.
Well, I mean, Solomon says to her attendant, call the council. It's time to put an end to this silly war.
Yeah. So what did you guys think?
Oh, I've seen this movie multiple times. This movie has a definite tied first place in my top 5 Studio Ghibli films with Princess Mononoke. I thoroughly enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Was this the first time you watched it?
No, this is like the third time.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't know. I don't know how I've ended up seeing it so many times. I saw it once in theaters, and it was very, very nice.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah, any Ghibli movie, it's going to be in your theater at least once a year.
Yeah.
Just look at the schedule.
Yeah.
They're always playing something.
Yeah.
And it's always worth seeing.
Really, I love this movie very much. And it reminds me of another work of art I like a lot, which I'm going to save for the recommendations round.
Nice.
Oh, wonderful.
But I don't know. I find it has a really lovely dreamlike atmosphere to it that I find really enchanting.
Yeah.
I agree too. Like with Hayao Miyazaki, because Studio Ghibli has other creators too that are associated with it. Even when his films are grounded in reality, like there's this one film called Whispers of the Heart.
I love that movie.
Which is so beautiful, and it's about a young girl who is sort of, it's a coming of age story and
Definitely.
finding yourself, and there are moments when she wanders through the suburbs of Tokyo.
It's like really, it's a movie about being like an individual.
Yeah, and it's so magical, but it's mundane in the sense that it's everyday life, but he still manages to make the suburbs of Tokyo seem like you've entered another realm, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he's gifted with that. So whether it's films grounded in reality, it's still they're still magical, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, his films are incredible. For the most part, his antagonists are young girls, although like
Protagonists.
Sorry, I said antagonist. I am so sorry. His protagonists, not his antagonists. Are girls. Although his most recent film, The Boy and the Heron, obviously in the title, the protagonist is a young boy.
Wind Rises is also a rare male-led one, and
Yeah.
Porco Rosso.
Yeah,
where
which I still have not watched.
That's a guy who becomes a pig,
Simona.
and then he fights fascism. It's
He does.
wild.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's another fun movie.
Yeah, I gotta watch that one.
And
That's
it
one
hurts
I've been
my heart
meaning
you
to.
haven't seen it yet.
I know. I'm sorry, but like that's one I do have to try to watch. So are we going to rate this out of Calcifers?
We can rate this out of Calcifers.
Okay.
This is a 5 out of 5 Calcifer. I love this movie so much.
Before I rate it,
Yeah.
I just want to say I actually have a sweater with a calcifer on it.
Do you really?
Yeah. Okay, this is a complicated sweater. It's one of my favorites, though. It's a Christmas sweater themed around McCartney 2, which is the weird Paul McCartney solo album where he got really into synths.
Oh,
and
interesting.
that's the one with Wonderful Christmas Time, hence the
Oh,
Christmas
okay,
sweater. But yeah,
okay.
there's a fireplace on it, and there's just calcifer in there.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll throw up a picture.
Yeah.
You'll see it. But yeah, 5 out of 5 for me. I really love this movie, and I'm gonna give a little recommendation here, some reader's advisory, and something I don't think we've recommended on here before: a video game.
No, we haven't recommended a video game
The
yet.
Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now, this was originally a Game Boy game.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It's I love the Game Boy Color version specifically. I think that one's wonderful. But guess what? There's a remake of the Nintendo Switch, which with a really gorgeous like toy kind of art style to it. We have it right here at Mayapack. You can borrow it because I don't feel like we haven't promoted our video game collection on here before.
No.
But we have a good one, guys.
We do have a good one.
Yeah, remember renting games at Blockbuster? You can still do it just at your library, and guess what? It's free.
It
Even
is
better.
free. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very dreamy kind of video game. I know that the creator of it said he took a lot of inspiration from Twin Peaks when he was making it.
Oh, wow.
Which you wouldn't expect that for a Game Boy game. But
No.
hey. But yeah, it has that same sort of like cozy, strange fantasy vibe to it, and like it plays around with a lot of tropes, a lot of weird, funny inversions and stuff like that. Very cute game, and yeah, probably my favorite Zelda game. So check it out.
Nice.
Are they making a live action version?
Yeah, they're making a Zelda movie. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I forget who's cast, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Because I'm curious. Because obviously I'm aware of the game. I've never played it, but I like going on YouTube and watching people play it.
I've played Zelda Twilight Princess.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Twilight Princess is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all pretty.
Link
great.
gets to turn into a wolf.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to give this a 5 out of 5. Like I said, it's one of my favorite Ghibli films. Would highly recommend it. I love all of his films.
Yes.
They are just so beautifully done. I did watch The Boy and the Heron, and that was one of the films where I was kind of iffy on it. But maybe I have to rewatch it.
Rewatch it because I saw it and I was crying by the end of it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. So I would rewatch it
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah.
Now another rating I'm going to ask from you.
Oh.
The book.
Oh,
How many
yeah.
calcifers does that get?
I would say 5 out of 5. Like I said, it's
High
very
praise.
it's very different. Like I guarantee once we start reading it, you will immediately say like, yeah, this is a different animal altogether. Even the characterization of Howl, he's very, like I said, irreverent. Like, he's very concerned about his appearance. Like they briefly touch on that in the end, but it doesn't last long. But throughout the book, Howl is like, oh yeah, you're cursed, but listen, sew my shirt because I have a date tonight. It's like he's and like I said, you learn more about him. There are some interesting reveals and twists. So, but I would give it a 5 out of 5. It's a really good read. It's fantasy, but it's not the kind of fantasy where you won't understand what you're reading. The world is fairly straightforward. You're not going to have any issues like what is going on here, and there's a lot of humor. What I love is the protagonist is an old woman for the majority of the book, which, and she's very spunky. She's intelligent. She's creative. She's resourceful. She's a wonderful character. All the characters in here are fantastic. So yeah, I would give this a 5 out of 5. And I look forward to you guys reading it.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
I'm glad to get your perspective on this. I feel like a lot of times we can boil down adaptations in quality to, well, how accurate is it to the book?
Yeah.
Right.
And instead of looking at them as two different beasts, because
Yeah.
I think most of the time they are. Sometimes there's changes made where you're like, why the hell did they do that? But
Right.
Yeah.
like
Right.
here, we're looking at it and like, this is a different piece of art, but this is still amazing. And
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
What we've been listening to.
Oh, yes.
Bah.
Oh, what, like,
I've not been listening to music. I've been listening to a book from Audibles. It's Magic Triumphs. It's the last book in the Kate Daniels series.
Is it the last one?
It is the last.
Okay.
But there's a lot of other books.
There's a lot of books in that series.
It's the last one in the Kate Daniels series. I'll just say that.
How many books are there?
That's 10. The
Oh
last
my
one
God.
is the 10th book. And yeah, it's the big conclusion, and I'm at the end of it. So I recommend that one.
Music.
Wait, okay, I'm looking at this, and it looks like there's like books 5.6. What the hell?
Because there's a lot of characters in this world, and they're all kind of like getting their own spin-off books.
I respect that you can tackle a series this large. This would paralyze me.
Yeah. Which is funny because like I've read long series, but I think just sometimes it's like and maybe it's getting older where it's like, do I want to commit? I think it's commitment issues. Do I want to commit to this? Because I started reading that series and I enjoyed it because it's like an alternative Atlanta where there's times where magic is sort of turned on and tech doesn't work, and then tech works and magic doesn't work. It's really cool.
There's shifters, and there's vampires, and you know what I really love about Ilona Andrews is that she takes trope monsters and turns it on their head. So what you think you're getting is not what you're getting.
Yeah.
But like in the best possible way.
Yeah. So what I will say is I did enjoy whatever I did read. In terms of music, what am I listening to? I feel like I've been listening to the same thing constantly. I have like my go-tos and I never listen to anything else. But like what I will do is like I'll throw out, it's going to be some K-pop, but whatever. I don't care.
Do it.
I don't care.
Do it.
So Hwasa is a singer that I really do enjoy. She came out with a
How do you
track.
spell Hwasa?
It's Hwasa. Hwasa. So I don't want to say originally because maybe she still is technically with the group, but she was part of a girl group, but she also has a lot of solo work. So the latest song she came out is called Good Goodbye, which is essentially that even though you're breaking up with something, it doesn't mean that it's it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Sometimes breakups are necessary. It's a really beautiful song in spite of the sadness sort of the message. There's like a positivity to it where breakups are a part of life and they're not always the worst thing that can happen to you.
But in the moment, it does feel like the worst thing.
And the music video went viral, and she performed it with the actor who's in the music video, and the people there lost their minds because of the chemistry. So if you ever get a chance to watch the live performance, and she sounds just as good live as when she sings in the video. So Goodbye would be a recommendation. Anything by Dreamcatcher, which is a fantastic girl group. They're very, I just love their songs. So anything by them, listen to it. They have a very kind of dark aesthetic at some points. There's a lot of freaky videos. They do a lot of rock in their songs. It's very different from most girl groups. What was another one? I had wanted to recommend this the last time, but I wasn't here. And now I can't remember what I wanted to say. Foza. Anything by her, she's fantastic. Beautiful voice, I love her. She needs to be more popular than she is. Honestly, she's fantastic. She's a brilliant songwriter. She has a gorgeous voice. She needs to be more popular. Yeah, those would be my recommendations.
You're getting the real stuff from some other people.
You do.
Like I haven't heard of any of these people. Okay, this is not surface level K-pop. This is the real stuff. So go out and listen to it.
You're looking at a genuine fan
so
here.
Foza, what I will say, she's a Canadian music artist. So I should clarify. She's not K-pop.
Okay.
Hwasa, Dreamcatcher, they're K-pop. Foza is a Canadian singer. I can't remember what her background is. Like, it's escaping me. But she has beautiful. The next time we do another song playlist. I couldn't think of that word. I will definitely have more of her songs on our playlist because she's fantastic. Highly recommend. I love Foza. And we have I think 2 of her albums on Hoopla. So you can also listen to her on Hoopla as well, our streaming service, which is free. You won't pay for it. So listen to Foza. Yeah, I love her. She's fantastic. Highly recommend. You will not be disappointed. The end.
All right. Well, for me, Gorillaz dropped a new album like 2 weeks ago at the time of recording. By the time this comes out, this album's very old news. But The Mountain, well, it's probably their best work in like 10 years.
Wow, that's always nice.
The Moon Cave from that album, fantastic song. You'll have a great time with it. Aside from that, I've been on a big hip-hop kick. The weather's just starting to get warmer for some reason. That lines up in my head. So I'm going to throw out Practice Looking Hard by E40. Maybe I threw that out last time too, but you know what? Go and listen to it again. And you know what? Let's do Big Business by 3-6 Mafia. Wild song.
I have at least one song to throw out there. Chaise Lounge by Wet Leg.
Yes.
That's a fun
great
time.
Band.
Fun time.
Oh, since also because on the radio they've been playing a lot of, I hate to call it retro, maybe it is, but anyway, Crazy by Britney Spears. I love Britney. She's not to everyone's taste, but Britney Spears will always be my girl. She was my
I feel
childhood.
like those first few albums are codified now. Like those are classics.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they've been playing her songs a lot on the radio, so like Crazy, Baby Hit Me One More Time, and Oops, I Did It Again. I will always jam to those songs, so those will be some more recommendations. Britney Spears.
All
I
right.
love Britney.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.